All right, time for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. If someone could send a quick ping to people on the Discord community, I know a few people are waiting for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And welcome, as always, to all the new people watching. Make sure you're following. We do Anime Monday every Monday. We do anime games every Saturday and action games every Sunday. And we also have a YouTube channel where we upload the Let's Plays, a reaction channel where we upload the reactions, and the Patreon where we upload everything that doesn't make it to the reaction channel, which just so happens to be most of the anime reactions. Links to all of those are below if you scroll down, or occasionally in the chat you will see the bots send the links. Highly recommend you join the Discord community. That's where you get pings when we're about to go live. All right, let's get started. This is an awesome song, by the way. Pop in my second energy drink. Fuck heart attacks. Oh, I love her. I just gotta say that General Armstrong is a woman after my own heart. Her sheer Slavness has seduced me, and I'm not even into Slavic women, nor blondes, nor any of that, because it strikes too close to home, because I was raised in a family filled with blondes, so, you know, too close to home. But her sheer level of Slavness and her tank has sold me. She is a beautiful woman that would make a fine mother and would produce unbelievably powerful Slavic offspring that would rule the world for many generations to come. So, my God, the Slavness of that woman. She is the only woman that walked up to King Bradley and said, "I want a tank," and she got a tank. I didn't see anyone else in this anime with a tank. That's why they had to send her to the north. It wasn't to get her away and stop her from discovering the plans, but they were worried that she would kill all the homunculi. So they sent her up north. She is just amazing. She is an amazing woman.
So what's the story with these guys?
They showed up under the pretext of escorting Ms. Rockbell, but I'm not buying that. They only answer to Kimberly. He's got some kind of plan for us here. But what?
Ooh, this will be interesting.
You should have told me you were heading to the north.
I didn't have a chance. We were in a hurry, okay?
Yeah, and when are you guys ever not in a hurry? Anyway, what did you do to get locked up?
It's only a misunderstanding. Just a lack of communication. I'll have them released within no time at all.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kimberly. These two are lucky to have you watching out for them.
It's nothing. Listen, I wouldn't trust Kimberly if I were you.
What? Why not? He seems nice.
This is why I have trust issues.
Miss Rockbell, is it true that your parents lost their lives while giving medical attention during the war?
That's right.
Thought so. I was part of the squadron that recovered their bodies.
What?
We had been dispatched to help them, but it was too late by the time we got there. I'm sorry.
Thank you for trying.
They stayed true to their duty, and they helped the needy right up to the end. I respect their bravery. I wish that I could have had the chance to meet them. They were holding a photo of a precious little girl when we found them, and I knew right away that it was their daughter. The thought of you kept them strong during the worst of the war.
This motherfucker is the worst type of psychopath. Not only is he psychotic, bloodthirsty, and sadistic with absolutely no shred of humanity, but he's also learnt to wear a fake mask and knows which emotional buttons to push to get people to lower their guards. Fuck me. This is the most dangerous type of individual. This is the type of motherfucker that becomes a dictator of a country. This. Chills down my spine. He weaves together this story like a spider weaving a web that pulls together all these emotional threads. Missing her family, you know? Oh yes, they did love you, you know? He's putting together this web of lies.
parents were true heroes, and it's an honor to meet you.
Do you have any idea what that psychopath did in Ishval?
I mean, he's right there.
I know. I've only got Lieutenant Hawkeye's experiences to go by. And she thinks I...
Speaking of Winry, you're in love with her, aren't you?
Get hard, don't get hard, don't get hard, don't get hard.
Don't freak out. Just think about something else. Try to think about something else. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, carbon, nitrogen,
Oh yeah.
chlorine, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt.
Why did I have to fall in love with such a weirdo?
Huh? Did you say something?
No, Ed, I didn't say anything.
Ah! What the hell, Winry? I told you to warn me before you connect the nerves, all right?
I'm sorry, but these two are fucking adorable. These two are fucking adorable. I ship it. I approve. I will allow this! I will allow this! This is allowed. I keep telling it. He's got to put a ring on that. He has got to put a ring on that. He's not going to do any better. I'm sorry. He's not going to do any fucking better. And she looks after him like... I mean, they're practically already fucking married. And besides, the correct answer when you are, you know, mourning wood, and the girl's like, what's that? And you could be like, oh, well, take it as a compliment. What can I say? I'm just happy to see you. Just own it! Own it!
Yeah. Now let's do your leg.
These two fucking kids. Oh my god.
It's so light. It's not gonna be any weaker than my last arm, will it?
Not really. It's slightly weaker, but I doubt you'll notice. It's pretty heavily reinforced.
All right, what are you doing out of your cell?
I don't know. Maybe some people respect the fact that I'm a state alchemist.
Finally upgrading for the cold, huh?
Are you upgrading too?
There's nothing left for me to upgrade to!
It's the M19 Madbird lightweight combat model! Whoa, what kind of reinforcement is that on the claws? They're not diamond tipped, are they?
Yeah, she's fully modified.
Diamonds are actually used in industrial concrete drills because diamonds are one of the strongest substances known to man.
It's a specially crafted model.
Edward, you want me to upgrade you to one of these?
My style.
Who's the girl? She's too cute to be hanging around you.
She's my mechanic.
Wife that before you lose it!
What'd you do that for?
Because life isn't fair.
That was messed up.
See? Even he can recognize quality. Wife that, you idiot!
You live Northern Automail! That's the first I've seen.
Oh yeah? You want to come check out my work shed then?
Please, I'd love to!
Hey.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You're losing her, buddy!
Try to keep on your toes, and don't go off exploring, not on your own. It's not safe here, so be careful, all right?
Okay, I will be. All right, let's see what you've got.
Well, this model is kind of rare.
Are you serious? You've got a crocodile?
I see she's got her parents' enthusiasm.
Well, I've done a little body work on this one to enhance the model's durability in the cold.
Well then, your little upgrade's all taken care of and out of the way. So why don't we find a place to sit down? I'm eager to discuss our business.
Excuse me? Can you tell me why you're keeping me in the cell?
Because that's where Mr. Kimbley wants you.
We were given specific instructions and orders to only release the Fullmetal Alchemist.
You just sit tight and behave
Good
yourself.
strategy, Kimberly.
Run will be back
He's
soon.
playing it safe by keeping us separated. And by dragging Winry up here.
To answer your question as to whether or not I would want to face someone like that, I don't think I would stand a chance against someone that wields fire and has a Philosopher's Stone. Someone that can create fire on its own even without the Philosopher's Stone. Well, he doesn't create fire, but he does alchemy. Would probably kick my ass. One, I wouldn't be able to get close enough to him to do any real damage. Two, he'd be able to destroy anything in his way while looking at me. And three, how the fuck am I going to kill him? The best bet I would have is explosives or a gun. And I still need a clear line of sight for that. And if he saw me, he'd blow me up. I'd be as fucked as the Ishvalans. Seriously, what the fuck am I going to face him with? In this anime, I'd just be a civilian.
He just wants to remind us they've got some collateral. I never realized just how nervous we make them. I've got to be patient. Just wait for my chance.
The advance team took 3 days' provisions. It's been an entire week since we last heard from them.
That's cutting it close.
I'm also concerned about the team's sanity. An entire week in total darkness.
Briggsmen don't get scared of the dark.
What he's getting at is sensory deprivation. That's what happens when they put people in solitary confinement in prison. What ends up happening to your brain is when you don't get external stimuli, your brain starts filling in the gaps itself. The brain doesn't like to be deprived of sensory information. One of the worst forms of torture they have is what is called the white room, where the walls, the furniture, everything is pure white. Your brain literally drives you to insanity. The same thing can happen in pitch darkness. You can't see anything, so you're relying on your touch and your sight. If the smell is the same, you've only got your two senses to go with. The amount of mental fortitude you need to survive in a place like that for even a day is extraordinary. So when they say it's been 3 days in pure pitch darkness, and she's saying, bridge men don't, break that easily, what she's getting at is that they're not just typical soldiers or special forces. They're a lot tougher than that, They're in the cold Arctic environment where only the strongest survive. There's limited resources, there's limited rations, the environment can kill you, there's frostbite, there's disease, there's isolation, there's all these factors. And what she's getting at is that her men don't break so easily. Typically in militaries, if you're sort of captured, you're pretty much protected under the Geneva Convention when they're not supposed to torture you, but it also happens. And typically units will give away information such as their name, their rank, and things like that, whereas other units are pretty much trained to withstand torture. And everyone has a breaking point because there's no way that you can resist torture indefinitely. There are very many ways that you can break someone, whether it be physically, psychologically, or chemically. But the whole point of withholding and standing out torture is to make the information that you hold useless. So no soldier on their own would have enough information to compromise the unit or the strategy. So every soldier is only given orders a piece at a time, a bite size of intel at a time. So if they get captured and they're able to hold out for say several hours or even possibly several days, the information they hold stops being useful to the enemy because they're usually given information in intervals. And since the time has already lapsed for that interval for that information, it's completely useless. So even if the enemy gets their hands on it, it's already been modified, or their unit and their military already has figured out that they've been captured, or they're MIA or they're KIA. So there's all these mechanisms in place within the military. It's actually quite fascinating. I would highly recommend, if anyone's interested, to actually look up the SAS recruitment process, where they literally, as part of the recruitment process, you have to go through the physical requirements, which are just mind-boggling. I've actually known someone that's tried out for the SAS, and he's a very strong person. He's about 110 kilos. He's built with muscle. He's a beast. He would put me to shame. And he ended up failing the trial because as part of the walk, the sort of march, he had to do 20 kilometers within a certain amount of time. But he ended up jumping from a small ledge, and because he was carrying about 20-30 kilos of gear, his ankle ended up breaking. It didn't sprain, it actually broke. and he wasn't actually able to walk. And the thing with these trials is they don't give a fuck about what your excuse is. If you have a broken bone, you know, it's all about willpower. Can you accomplish the mission no matter what? And another thing he had to do is he actually had to crawl through a tunnel. It's this very small tunnel. Anyone with claustrophobia would be fucked. The water is literally up to here where your lips are, and you can only get in it on an angle like this, and you're literally dragging yourself with, you know, one arm and pulling your body through this tunnel, which I believe is 1 or 2 kilometers long. And at any point, you could literally give up. You can just say, I give up, and they'll, you know, take the lid off the tunnel. It's literally like just covered on the floor, but it's there to test you psychologically. And if you pass that, there is also a segment where they literally torture you. They'll get dogs, they'll deprive you of sleep, they'll play static white noise and force you to, it's basically a position when your hands are like on the wall and you're bending over. I forget what the position is called, but I think it's called the stress position. It's done in a particular way in order to get the stress hormones in your body to start producing, and it's all done to mentally break you down. And I think that runs for about 2-3 days, and over the course of 2-3 days, they literally scream at you, they threaten you, they sort of say, why don't you quit, why don't you leave, you know, we'll give you all this stuff. And the whole point is that you withhold all information, you say nothing. And you might think, oh, that's easy, I'll refuse to give them my name. That's really easy now, but when you haven't slept in 3 days and you are beginning to hallucinate at about the 2.5-3 day mark, you start hallucinating from sleep deprivation. And you spent this time deprived of food, deprived of water. You know, you've literally pissed yourself because they don't let you go to the bathroom. Like, they're physically and mentally degrading you. They are breaking you down. They're trying to see, what are you made of, you know? It's fucking tough. I mean, I don't even pretend like I would be able to survive even 1 day of any of this. But if you're interested in this sort of military thing, I highly recommend you look this sort of stuff up. Just look it up. I think it's called the SAS Trials. They did a documentary on it. They obviously won't tell you everything that they do, but they'll give you a rough idea of what sort of training and requirements are needed to join some of these type of military units. And these boys are probably on par with that. So, sorry for going a little bit on a tangent, but that's what she's basically getting at. It wouldn't surprise me if she puts them through that type of shit. All right, let's go. Jesus, I don't think I'd survive any of that. I'll be honest with you, most people can't. And that's the point. They effectively weed out people. And that's not done because, you know, people are bad, but if you've got a special forces unit that's doing black ops and secret missions, do you really want to find out whether or not they can live through that on the battlefield, or would you want to find out beforehand? Because this is the type of people you're dealing with, and some of these people, you know, live for this, and, you know, my hat goes off to them, but let's face it, most people can't. And that's okay. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has their skills, everyone has their talents, and everyone has a way they can contribute. Some people are excellent doctors, some people are excellent bakers, some people are excellent mechanics, engineers, some people are excellent soldiers, some people are good at logistics, some people are good at administration. Not everyone is built the same. All right, let's continue.
General, there's no telling what could happen to us while we're down here. If we're not back within 24 hours, seal up this hole with concrete.
Very well then, I'll do so.
See what I mean? These guys have balls of steel. Most people wouldn't have the balls to do something like that. Most people would literally run back and try to get to safety and be like, please let us in, and compromise the safety of everyone else to try to get away from the danger. Whereas these guys are like, well, if we don't get back, we'll hold them off and you seal this shit so, you know, you guys don't get killed. Fucking balls of steel, respect.
I want all of you to listen very closely. I am the only one responsible for the incident involving General Raven. You weren't there. You didn't see anything. You didn't hear anything. If Raven's fate is discovered, I order you to solely place the blame on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difference between a leader and a boss. The leader is going to be at front of the pack, pulling most of the weight and taking responsibility to look after their people, whereas a boss is going to be at the back in a bunker telling people what to do and the first to run away when there's the first sight of danger. Fucking mad respect. Mad fucking respect.
Yes, General.
Let's go.
They don't make him like that very often. No wonder she has the respect of her men.
Sounds like things are getting out of hand up north.
Indeed. They could use an offensive lead about now. The Fort Briggs strong suit is defense. But you need more than defense if you plan on being the one to make the first strike. With the offensive expertise of your eastern forces, Madame Olivier believes they have a chance.
I'm honored that she would choose me as her partner in arms.
Oh, no. Madame Olivier needs the strength of your army, not you. She said you might as well just get lost.
Uh-huh. I have to ask. It's kind of risky telling me this. What's stopping me from warning Führer Bradley?
Well, you are. She assured me you weren't that kind of man. Well, then, that'll be 35,000 cents, please.
I appreciate it.
Fucking capitalism is alive and well.
Hey, wait. Who are you?
Oh, just someone who has served the Armstrong family for generations.
Well, Hughes, it's safe to say that our closest allies, they invariably turn out to be the same people that we fought side by side with out on the battlefield. But
what do I do?
Look at him. What a
These
freak.
flowers.
Oh, no, he's looking at us.
You know what he should do? He should take these flowers and get them delivered to his partner. Because God knows she deserves it. Oh God.
It's a massacre. It's exactly the same as Smith's arm. Even this metal was sliced clean through.
Keep on the lookout. It might be close.
The horse's head was cut clean off. A horse's head is like this. Imagine that. And then you've got the spine and then the muscles. I mean, if you can cut that clean, I don't know. That kind of looks like a human torso, minus the bones. Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. Meanwhile, you've got 3 pistols and a shotgun. Where's the rifles? Huh?
They're still alive! Are you all right? Speak to me. Look here.
Lieutenant Henschel?
His arm's gone.
Thank goodness you're okay. Is there anyone else? What happened?
The others were... They were all... ripped apart!
Uh-oh.
Listen, we have to get out of here. It's coming back.
What is?
Please, you gotta get rid of the lights. The shadow.
Hey, you're all right now.
Oh.
Come on, pull yourself together.
The shadow. It's coming.
Can you walk? Let's go. Try to help them walk as much as you can.
So it uses shadows? So pitch black doesn't work. It needs to be a shadow. Dude, that's fucked. I mean, thank God the tunnel is, clean. But... fuck. So it left them alive as a lure. So during World War II in Stalingrad, there's a famous Soviet sniper that killed 50, 60 German officers. And he learnt to shoot by hunting wolves from his grandfather, which is what made him such a good shot. The reason I say this is that the strategy for hunting wild animals, particularly if you want to get multiple at a time, is that you don't shoot your target and you don't shoot to kill. You shoot the young deer and you shoot to injure. It's a much tougher shot. It's a lot more difficult because, you know, the legs are very small. But if you can get the shot and the young deer or the young animal or whatever it is gets hit, gets injured, it's going to cry. And its parents come. The mother comes, the father comes, and potentially other deer. And you can get multiple that way. So some of the best hunters don't actually shoot to kill, they shoot to injure. A lot of the well-trained snipers during World War I and II understood this concept very well. So they wouldn't shoot to kill. They would shoot the legs or the arms of enemy soldiers who would fall, particularly out of cover, and they would wait for their comrades to come out to help them. And then they would just pick them all off. Like I said, during World War I and II, only about 5 to 10% of the people were actually killing. The rest were trying to save their comrades, deliver ammunition and food, and ended up getting picked off by the 5-10% who had very, very large kill counts. War is hell, ladies and gentlemen, and it's where men become demons. Because that's the only way to win.
I'm sorry to bother you so late, but I have some urgent documents the Fuhrer needs to read right away.
Oh, my dear. I'm sorry, but my husband isn't home right now.
It'd be wonderful if he could look these over by tomorrow.
That is urgent. But don't you worry, I'll make sure that he does.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Salim, shouldn't you be in bed?
I was, but then I heard the door. I thought that it might be Father coming home.
This is your father's assistant, Lieutenant Hawkeye.
It's very nice to meet you, Lieutenant Hawkeye.
It's nice to meet you.
You must be working hard to be up so late.
Not really. I just had to bring your father some documents. But I should be going now. Sorry I woke you. Good night, Salim.
Yes, come, Salim. You need your proper rest. Otherwise, you might oversleep.
I know.
It makes me wonder how the kid is being raised. Is Bradley raising him as just, cover to make him seem more human? Or is he raising the kid as another potential candidate to take his place once he gets old? Because Bradley is aware that his body is aging and he's not immortal in that sense. So is it possible that he's raising his adopted son to be a prime candidate to be the next Wrath? It would make sense. Because, he seems to be brought up. He's going to the libraries. He's getting his manners. He's probably going to be taught politics and combat from his father, that sort of thing. Because as a child, you absorb your surroundings. In the first few years of a child's life, they are literally a sponge. They will pick up the habits of their environment. And if your frame of reference is Bradley, something's going to rub off. The apple's not going to fall too far from the proverbial tree.
He seems like a really sharp kid.
He certainly is. He's the pride of my life. I know it's impolite to brag about my son, but that shouldn't apply since he's adopted. I really shouldn't act so surprised, though.
What difference does it make that he's adopted? We're not doing the whole nature of a nurture argument, but if we were, it's been shown time and time again that your genetics are to a sense, luck, but that's just pure potential. What really matters is how you brought up. And you can see that with twins that were separated at childbirth, how different their life outcomes can be depending on their individual circumstances and upbringing. I mean, the fact that it's adopted and has no genetic, connection to these people doesn't make them any less the kid's parents. I mean, they're nurturing him and teaching him everything he has. That makes them more his parents than anyone else. It's the same way that I never met one of my grandparents from each side, and I had like an adoptive grandmother who I still consider my grandmother, and I learned a lot from her. I loved her like my grandmother, and she treated me like one of her grandsons. Does it really matter that we have no genetic relation? I don't think so.
He is related to my husband, so he must have some of his genes.
Wait, what? Oh God, he's a clone!
He's not related to you?
Oh, no.
Oh God, he's a clone, isn't he?
This just doesn't add up. The Colonel told me that King Bradley was raised as a test subject. He doesn't have any family. He didn't even know his parents. And I got that strange feeling from Selim. Could he be...
So, you've put it all together?
Oh fuck, it's the spider.
All thanks to my stepmother. She just doesn't know how to shut up.
But your baleful presence also gave you away. I recognized it somehow, but I'm just now realizing why. It's the same bloodlust I felt when Gluttony tried to attack me from behind. So, Selim Bradley, what exactly is your true identity?
You've got some nerve to ask me a question like that, considering the circumstance.
This kid might as well have the Omen theme playing in the fucking background. No wonder he's Wrath's son.
Such bravery. You've also shown good judgment by keeping your gun holstered. Such a move would only get you killed.
I'm guessing you're a homunculus, like Gluttony. No, you've got some kind of pressure coming from you that he didn't have.
I'm offended that you would even put Gluttony and me in the same league. You ask my name? It's Pride. And I was the first homunculus.
Excuse me?!
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
Well, that answers that question I had about Bradley and his son. Well, that changes that parental dynamic. It's not Wrath looking after the child, it's the child looking after Wrath. Wow. Funny that we had that conversation about upbringing and genetics about 2 minutes ago.
You said you were the first homunculus, correct?
Hello, Alucard Jr. How's it going, buddy? He even reached the north from here. If I had a scouter right now, it would be reading over 9,000 and blowing up. It's funny because if you watch back and listen to how Selim talks, he always speaks in a very proud way. Also, one time he said he wanted to help his father. It's beautiful because children wanting to help their parents is a very innocent and, well, natural thing. But at the same time, for someone watching this anime a second, this anime has rewatch value. That is the sign of a good anime. Very few anime have rewatch value. This is a good anime. I'm gonna have nightmares about this kid, aren't I? Because apparently Cheeky has been barking at our bedroom in the new house. She literally goes up to the bedroom door and barks at an empty room. Now, Hutchon thinks it's possible that there's a ghost there. I personally don't mind because they're stuck with me. But I fear a demon child that I cannot control.
What do you mean by that?
Just what I told you. Are you actually trying to get information out of me? You're a courageous one, aren't you? Have you considered switching sides and joining us?
Why would I? I'd just be a pawn to you.
So that's a no? That's too bad.
I mean, at this point, what are you supposed to do? If the kid wanted you dead, you'd be dead. But at the same time, you're dealing with pride, so you gotta make sure to not step on the kid's toes, because, I mean, pride. And the closest of the deadly sins associated with the devil would actually be pride, because that's what got the devil kicked out of heaven to begin with. So what you're dealing with here is probably the closest thing you have to the devil. Which is funny considering that father has a god complex and likes to dress like Jesus with a robe, and this little kid is giving me Antichrist vibes. So someone clearly has a hard-on for Dante's Inferno. I mean, I have nightmares all the time. It's mostly being in wars and fighting wild animals. Like 2 nights ago, I had to fight a bear and a wolf. And the day before that, I was literally in a world war. But this little kid scares me a lot more. One of the things that scared the shit out of me a few years ago was, I don't know if you guys have seen Silent Hill, but the little girl that's Dark Alessa, that shit scares me more than a war.
Oh well.
Are you trying to humor me with your empty threats? It's just wasteful to kill your hostage.
How perceptive you are. Just remember, Lieutenant, no matter where you are, I will be watching you from the shadows.
You've got a job for me? That's correct.
Can I just say, holy shit? That kid watches us when we poop. I mean, that's just awkward for everybody.
You are a state alchemist, after all. And it's a few jobs, actually. 3. All from the Fuhrer.
Of course 3. Because whoever wrote this anime has a hard-on for Christianity. 7 deadly sins. Pride is the Antichrist. 3. Sure, what's next? 666?
First off, he wants you to hunt down Scar. You just find him, I'll take care of the rest. Secondly, he wants you to locate Dr. Marco, who is very likely fled with Scar.
Why is Dr. Marco with Scar?
The only thing you need to worry about is finding them. And last but not least, he wants you to carve a crest of blood here.
Yeah?
A crest of blood?
Just like what I did in Ishval. It's very simple. We kill everyone and soak the land with their blood.
I would never take part in...
Did you really join the military without being prepared to kill someone?
This is a fucked up thing. He's forced to weigh the value of one life against many. And it's also the very reason why humans will never achieve peace. Because personal emotions drive us to make the irrational decision to sacrifice many to save one, because we bear emotional attachment to the one over the many. But then at the same time, he's the one controlling the options. So, you know, there's always the third option, but still. God damn, this anime's getting deep.
I was determined not to kill.
Well, how original of you. I suppose you could take just as much from that decision.
Listen, Kimberly, do you have any idea what they're doing? What you're helping them to achieve?
I'm curious to see how the world will change.
What?
Both sides clashing. Will against will. Life versus life. Humans or the homunculi. Which one will triumph? Which side does the world prefer? The homunculi like to see themselves as the next step in the evolution of humanity. But that's for history to decide.
See, what he's talking about is very similar to what is called the concept of Twilight of the Psychopaths, where some see psychopaths and sociopaths as the next step in evolution because they're able to make decisions on a rational basis rather than emotional, which makes them highly competent at times of war as well as in society because they strive in cutthroat environments. They're able to mimic human emotion, they're able to read human emotion, but they're not burdened by it because they're able to control it in themselves and others. However, by the same token, psychopaths are unable to function as a collection because they're so individually motivated. They're very hedonistic. So while they're very good at, positions like commander or CEO or manager or things like that, they're not actually capable to integrate within a society because they operate in a very parasitic way. They very rarely produce value on their own, and they mostly need to utilize the production value of others, which is why they do so well as, let's say, gold diggers, twitch thoughts, dictators, criminals, politicians, all these positions of power where you need to effectively subjugate and manipulate and pretty much use others to achieve your ends. But because they're so individually focused, they pretty much suck up all the blood and energy and resources until something actually collapses. They do very well for themselves because they get paid for it, but the companies they run typically, become companies like Enron, where they do illegal things to get rich quick because they don't care about the long-term longevity of the company. Or they will hit their KPIs by lowering costs, but as a result, they've effectively destroyed the company because all future R&D developments and funding has been stripped bare. So they've hit their KPI, they get their bonus, and they leave the company and it falls. All these sort of things. So what he's saying about the next step in evolution of the homunculi, from what I see it, is that the homunculi are actually flawed. They do have extraordinary abilities because they are fueled by a philosopher's stone. They can regenerate, and they each have their own perk, whether it be gluttony that has his own, parallel realm in his belly that he could suck people in. You've got lust with her massive, phallic symbol like Vlad the Impaler, who she can pierce people with. You've got Wrath, who's, he's got his shunning gun. You've got Pride, who's got his, I can only imagine that he's immortal and he uses the shadows. But deep down, the deadly sins actually hold them back. Greed's held back by, you've seen, possession of others and things. Pride, no doubt, is going to be held back by his pride because he values that over all else. Wrath just wants to destroy, and that's his primary weakness. Same thing with lust. Lust's had so much, lust for dominating her opponents and making them suffer that it made her vulnerable and got her killed. All these... It's effectively their Achilles heel. The very thing that makes them powerful is also their greatest weakness. It's the same thing with humanity. The fact that they're able to feel and have such strong emotion is what drives them to do things they normally wouldn't be able to. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because it makes them predictable, easy to control, and ends up destroying them. And then you've got this fucking psycho who doesn't give a shit either way. Who do I think is the most powerful? It really depends. Everyone would have an advantage against a different opponent, and everyone have a weakness against another opponent. You can't just put everyone in a battle royale and, who's going to win. It depends who fights who first, ultimately. But I'd keep my eyes on Pride because he's definitely got age. And as the saying goes, beware of someone that's lived long in a profession where most die young.
I just plan on helping it make up its mind.
Have you forgotten that you're a human? How can you take sides with them?
Now it's hit me. Pride reminds me of Cthulhu, or N'Zoth if you're thinking of World of Warcraft. He's been around for a long time, but very few know about him. He's everywhere, yet nowhere. He's playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. He's manipulating people from the shadows. I would definitely keep my eye on Pride. We haven't seen his fighting ability, but it's pretty fucking terrifying, if you ask me. And the fact that he's been around the longest, I mean, fuck me. See ya, Spicy. Thanks for coming. I mean, someone like Wrath is predictable, right? You engage Wrath, you get your butt kicked. You engage Lust, she's gonna, cut you up into a million pieces. You piss off Gluttony, he's gonna absorb you. You've got these predictable traits. And then you've got Pride, who is just fucking absolutely terrifying because he's able to blend in. And he could be anywhere and everywhere and nowhere. I think that's more terrifying than all the other ones combined. I mean, fighting ability is one thing, but being able to manipulate everything and anything at the same time is absolutely terrifying.
Determined not to kill.
Well, how original of you. I suppose you could take just as much from that decision.
Listen, Kimberly, do you have any idea what they're doing? What you're
Spine
helping
chilling.
them to achieve?
I'm curious to see how the world will change.
What?
Both sides clashing. Will against will. Life versus life. Humans or the homunculi. Which one will triumph? Which side does the world prefer? The homunculi like to see themselves as the next step in the evolution of humanity. But that's for history to decide. I just plan on helping it make up its mind.
Have you forgotten that you're a human? How can you take sides with them?
Because they've given me complete freedom to use my alchemy however I want.
You're insane, Kimberly.
My standards do tend to differ from society's. However, if I survive this battle, then the world will have chosen my sanity over yours. I stake my being, the very core of my own existence. This is what I'm willing to bet on the outcome of this battle.
Kimberly, you don't make any sense.
That's surprising. I'd always kind of assumed that self-centeredness was a universal trait of all alchemists. Well then, let's see if I can find something that you do selfishly crave. Something you and your brother want more than anything. And if you do what we ask, I'll give it to you.
Notice that he's giving him the Philosopher's Stone that he's had for a while, but he's not giving him the circular one. He's keeping the circular one for himself, but he hasn't consumed it yet. I'm so curious.
A Philosopher's Stone.
Everyone has their price. That's fucked. That's fucked. That's fucked. So originally it was kill the many and spare the woman you love. Difficult enough, right? Now it's kill the many, we spare the woman you love, and give you what you've been working towards this entire time. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal, right? I mean, there's no way he's not considering it. I mean, how much does he know about the people he's being asked to kill? Not much. How have they treated him so far? Like shit. Fuck, he's being tempted right now, like fucking hell. And let's not pretend for a second we'd all make the righteous decision, no questions asked. Humans are innately flawed. Each of us has a price. It's just a different thing. It's just a different button that needs to be pushed. And the scary part is psychopaths like this motherfucker can typically work out very quickly what motivates us because they're purely rational, whereas we're emotional beings. We feel, they think. It's terrifying.
I need to consult with Al and Winry. Why tell Winry? She has no idea she's involved. Despite what you're asking of me, I refuse to hide the truth from her. All right then, but you're not telling her without me there. I don't want you telling her too much. Winry, you were only brought to Briggs as a hostage.
A what? What does he mean, Al? Are you joking?
Listen. I've been ordered by the Fuhrer to fulfill my duties as a human weapon. In other words, they're ordering me to help them commit mass murder.
Why don't you just refuse? I see. That's why. No. I'm sorry. They're using me to hold you down. I won't cry. I won't. I'm just upset at myself for being so naive.
It's not only about getting him to do it. Anyone can do it. I mean, that guy, whose name I already forgot, could fucking slaughter everyone in this place and make a giant blood circle. That's not the point. The point is getting Ed to do it. And the point is not only forcing him to do it, but getting him to make the conscious decision to do it. Because once he does, he's taken that step, he's made that choice, he's started walking down the path of the dark side. And he's being converted into being one of them. Remember that they mentioned that he was, I think, a candidate or a sacrifice? We don't exactly know what that means, but they need him alive. They need both of them alive. But I think it's a lot easier for them to convert them rather than, keep forcing and coercing them. And if that means giving them a goddamn Philosopher's Stone, well, you saw how many of those they've made. It's not a big price. Wow. And think how she feels in this situation. Her life is being weighed up against how many people? And her parents have given up their lives to try to save a few extra people. And now she's being used as a bargaining chip to kill hundreds, possibly thousands of people. Fuck. This is cruel. Well, she's not having a good day.
I'm sorry. All you were trying to do was get your original bodies back again.
About that, they actually offered me a Philosopher's Stone as payment.
A stone? But...
That's right, Kimberly has one.
We can't, brother! The ingredients for a stone...
I know, Al.
Go ahead and do what you want.
I will. It's settled. I'm in, all right?
This is gonna end badly. He thinks by getting the Philosopher's Stone he could take him out, not realizing that he has a Philosopher's Stone. And if he ends up mortally wounding him, this guy will just give himself to the Philosopher's Stone that he has, which possibly comes with its own personality, which is possibly even worse than this guy. Oh. Yeah, and just picture the long-term events if Ed actually does it. He would have sacrificed hundreds of people and then the entire country. See, an immortal cycle will basically say that everyone dies anyway. So what difference does it make when they die? At least this way they have a purpose. To an immortal creature, human lives are irrelevant. We only give value to our own lives because something is at stake for us. So for an immortal being, we're like fucking cannon fodder, really. And they've even said more than once, we're nothing but that we're nothing but resources, and if we're not used, we end up spreading like whatever they described us to. So they don't actually hold us in very high regard.
But finding Scar is the first thing I want to do.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Scar is the one who murdered Winry's parents. They deserve vengeance.
I see. Fine with me.
Also, I need Al with me. He doesn't have a body, so he's immune to Scar's bodily destruction.
Well, that is helpful.
You're okay with this, Al?
The Philosopher's Stone? They can only be made by sacrificing human lives.
Yep.
Don't worry. Brother would never actually use one. And we don't need it. We think we might be able to use Xingyi's alchemy to get our bodies back. There's a girl that's been working with Scar. We think that she can teach it to us.
So then, is he going after Scar to find this girl?
I think so.
I see. Then I guess I had better hurry up and come up with a believable excuse.
Ugh, and what if Pride just heard them? God damn it. I love that.
This is the general vicinity in which Scar was last spotted.
Then that's our first stop.
Hey! Make room for one more! Come on, Al, scoot over some!
What are you doing, Winry?
I'm sorry, Winry, but you need to wait here at the fort. We're not going for a picnic.
And neither am I. I just performed a complicated upgrade on his automail that I've never done before. What if there's a malfunction? It would tarnish the Rockbell name if I'm not there to fix it.
Do you even realize how obsessed with your job you are? You're a workaholic.
And proud of it, too. This has been my family's business
Very
for
well,
4
then.
generations.
You can join us.
Totally.
This man understands. It is better to just say yes, honey, than argue with a woman. Clearly, this man has been married before.
I guess I can allow you to.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This could turn out really badly for us.
Yeah. But still, I can't just sit around waiting anymore.
Guys, the stakes just got multiplied by 10. Oof. Oof. It makes you wonder if the kid's guards are actually there to protect the kid, or are they there to keep tabs on the kid? Oof. I'm getting chills down my fucking spine. Kids are fucking terrifying. Oof.
Set again.
No post-credit thing. Yeah, and then account Scar's role trying to analyze his brother's notes, since Scar, Ed, and Al can easily work together in this situation, Kuma. Well, they have a common enemy, and they themselves are not actually enemies. Scar's original motivation was to get vengeance for what has happened to his family, completely understandable, and we can't hold it against the guy. At the same time, his frame has changed significantly since meeting Little Panda Girl, and he's even decided to spare that, scientist that was responsible for sacrificing Ishvalans to create a Philosopher's Stone. And clearly he's already worked with Al in the past when they encountered Father. So I don't think Scar is gonna attack Al and Ed at first sight like he previously did. His frame of mind has changed significantly since then. And he also understands when Winry pointed the gun at him, he was like, well, if anyone has the right to shoot me, it's you. He's not a bloodthirsty maniac who's, loose. He's a human being. Yeah, they would work together. But the question is, would them working together even be able to do anything? At this point is the hope that the alchemy arts that little panda girl, because I forgot her name, I'm calling her little panda girl, that little panda girl has can be used to their advantage. We know that they could use it when Father disables their style of alchemy, but can it be used in the way that Ed thinks it can be used? We don't know. There's all these variables. I mean, you can't just discount the fact that these homunculi are using Philosopher's Stones as an energy source. That gives them a significant power up. They're not to be taken lightly. I mean, the fact that Wrath was taken out was a stroke of, not Wrath, I mean Lust, is a stroke of good luck because she was so arrogant. That's her fault. If she was just fighting to kill, like, say, Bradley, it wouldn't be so easy to take her out. She was silly. She was cocky. That's what got her killed. Man, this anime is getting so goddamn good. The fucking little kid is Pride. This entire fucking time, I was like, who the fuck is Pride? And it turns out to be the little fucking kid. Jesus Christ. All right. And don't forget Mustang gathering info behind the scenes, and General Armstrong is deep in this too. Yes, but we don't know how many people Pride has been watching. This just adds a whole dynamic to the situation. It adds a whole dynamic that will probably come into play now and will change everything. All right, quick little break, and we're going to be right back. Right back.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun sized, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.